Hello, salamu alaikum. Welcome to the latest in the series of Chalhoub Group podcasts. And today we're going to be talking about the role of data during the pandemic and since the pandemic of 2020. My name's Tim Carmichael. I'm the head of analytics impact here at Chalhoub Group. And I wasn't here when the pandemic took place last year. I was back in the UK, so I've been joined, I'm delighted to say, by three veterans of that time. We've got Joe, Martin and Carli, and they'll introduce themselves shortly.
Hello.
Because they lived it and breathed it. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what they have to say about that time, a difficult time, but one of some success. So, as we all know, the pandemic was a fundamental changer in the retail industry. Stores shut, physical stores shut. There was a significant pivot to e-com and online and to selling through apps. And that clearly made a radical difference to the way that Chalhoub Group and many others did business. And what I'd love to hear from you as you introduce yourselves, please, is what's your key takeaway from the heat of the battle in that time? Joe, let's take your takeaway first.
Thanks, Tim. Morning, everyone. I'm Joe, and I'm a data product lead for the data team in Chalhoub Group. My key takeaway for 2020, Tim, is basically break down the silos, get everyone in the room, make people talk, more collaboration. And for that, we actually structured the product team and as well as the broader team into functional areas to make sure that everything we build has value cross-function. So from supply chain to customer to commercial teams as well.
So you didn't go for a classic hierarchy, you went for cross-cutting streams that deliberately broke down the silos.
Absolutely. From our architects, our analysts, our product managers, the product portfolio is structured that way as well. And we got people from supply chain talking to customer, talking to commercial teams, just to make sure, that the data is Chalhoub's data. It's one place in one platform.
Thanks, Joe. And Martin, you clearly were leading one of those streams. Tell us about your main thoughts on that time.
Hello, team. Hello, everyone. So, my name is Martin, working in Joe's team as a product manager for the customer stream. So, everything which handles the customer data or customer stakeholders. So, I would say my key takeaway has been agility for last year. I remember one day Joe coming to the office and telling me, as all physical stores were shutting down, telling me we have to prioritize some e-com data. We have to give some insight on the customer e-com. So we had to switch completely the timeline, the priority for the next few weeks to start tackling some key customer metrics for e-com specifically to give the maximum of insight on who is the e-com customer, new, returning, to start targeting the right people.
Was there a kind of gulp moment there?
Yeah,
you realized that all the stores were shutting?
Because we just started in Jan, like tackling the customers 360. So the vision was set for a few months and weeks, I would say. So in one day, you just have to switch everything you did, basically, to prioritize and build something new in less than a month, which is quite crazy when you start looking into, but definitely a great experience.
What a great story to tell as well. Yeah, absolutely. So busting the silos and being agile. Carli, what did you feel of your time there?
Hello, everyone. I'm Carli. And I think from my perspective, the key takeaway was how do we deliver something that's good enough for the business to make a decision while still delivering it fast enough that they can make the right decision during the pandemic. As we know, it was such a key shift in such a short amount of time. You won't always have the chance to get something perfect, but you need to have something that they can actually act on and make a decision to enable them.
And that's interesting because, of course, we have three values at Chalhoub that we all espouse, one of which is excellence. So you're now saying, hey, actually, it's good not to be so excellent.
I think excellence comes over time. So as we keep going, as we keep iterating, as Joe said, we will keep striving for excellence, but it's not something that you just do in 2 weeks and boom, you have the right data with the right exact logic on it. It's about finessing it over time and getting feedback.
Correct. And in the crisis, if I may add, we were aiming for good enough for on-the-spot decision-making. You're in crisis. When in crisis, you accept good enough.
All about empowering the frontliners.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I'm guessing that all of you felt that quite keenly as a time of fairly radical change. What did you feel like you were aligned with what was really important to the business? Did you get that sense of we are helping the business travel in the direction it wants to travel?
Well, from supply chain side, I think one of the key parts of the pandemic was fall, winter, and spring, summer 20. You buy stock for a season. Fashion is a very seasonal business. If it doesn't sell, it depreciates. You lose its value. If our stores are closed for the first half of the year, that whole season lost its value immediately without even having the chance to be sold in stores. So it's how do we pivot to either create a markdown strategy after that, so that way we don't hold this stock for years, or how do we switch it to an e-commerce business model so that way that stock can then be sold later. So I really think that in terms of the priorities, the business did zoom in and help us understand what their plan was to then act on it later.
So basically, we're saying that data for the business was mandatory for survival. Without it, it could have gone really badly.
Yeah, definitely. And if I can jump in on what Carli said, I think the objective was not the same, and this is great for Chalhoub, because here we talk about how can we generate more value for the business, by getting the right stock, the right value markdown or full price. For customer, it was all about opening eyes, on customer data, because nothing was really available for the business. So we don't even talk about what could be the value I can generate if I target a customer. It's all about understand my customer to take actions in the future and hopefully this year,
Well, let's go there in some more detail now, Martin. Let's move on to this really important theme of customer, because, of course, customer at heart is one of the commitments of Chalhoub to its customers. And for me, that tends to boil down to things like knowing who our customers are, knowing how they will behave, what they want, and understanding how to delight them. How on earth do you turn that into a data story?
I think we got lucky last year because COVID hit and e-com and supply was a priority a lot for the business. So customer, I think we had time to build something and to build something in a right way. We were not in a hurry to deliver in few weeks. So we took a few months to just build the first foundation. I think we delivered around September, October, the customer 360 piece, just to have a unique ID for a customer such as Carli, to understand if Carli bought online, offline, if she part of loyalty program. So we had the chance to build the foundation to start getting insight and take action this year. And what has been great on Customer 360 here, we don't even talk about data only. This is the key to understand is we're talking about aligning people and make people talk together when it comes to customer. Because it was not really something happening in Chalhoub when you think about you have a Muse team, a CX team, CRM, business, e-com. So
you had a whole spectrum of customer stakeholders.
Whole spectrum of customer stakeholders, I would say. And these people were not talking together, I would say. So data was, I think, the foundation and a good bridge between all these teams to start aligning on this is a metric we should look into. This is kind of insight. This is what we need to see. Oh, if we look at this metric this way, we can maybe leveraging some actions for that business. So this has been the beauty of the stream, aligning people, making people talk the same language.
Yeah, and some of my previous experience, and no doubt you've all been doing it over the last year, my previous experience are often as data leaders, we're marriage guidance counselors too, and we're bringing parts of the business together wouldn't otherwise normally speak to each other, because simply that's not how they've needed to work in the past.
Yeah.
But to bring together an holistic view through data means that, you've got to get different parts of the business talking to each other. So what did you build? You built this Customer 360. What was it used for?
So as I say, Customer 360 is only the foundation,
Yeah.
It's only the beginning of a greater journey for Chalhoub for the next few years. So I have a good example in my mind, which is Customer 360 can be used today to do some segmentation for the customer, which was not really happening in the past. You can just look into automatically, is this customer a new customer, a churn customer? Is this customer not really active as we would like? So you can just share this data automatically again to some marketing campaign tool we have in Chalhoub, such as Salesforce, for instance, and you can start targeting those customers automatically and say, great, so I know my group of customers are going to be churned maybe in a few months. Let's target those customers. And the benefit of Customer 360 is we are able as well to analyze the impact of a campaign. We are able to say, team, you received an email from Faces last week. Did you shop offline or online in a Faces store in the next 2, 5, 15 days? What did you buy? Which product did you buy? So we can even go further and say, next time we should maybe advise a specific product for team.
So I love it. So you're closing the loop. Not only are you informing a campaign, you're also analyzing the results of the campaign.
Yeah, we're closing the loop. I don't want to say we already did it. This is a 360, the full 360 journey, which is not there yet. We have a lot to do again, but it's a good first step into the 360 journey. Yeah.
And does it help us when we think, because Chalhoub is becoming a hybrid retailer, it's going to be as effective and as good at thrilling our customers online as it is offline. That's our whole approach. Does this take us there?
Yes, definitely. I don't want to say we're here now. It will take a few months to get to this stage and what you mentioned, but the journey started, I would say, and which is great because we didn't see it happening before, and when we start releasing in September and even more from beginning of the year, we can see the change a lot more than versus last year, which is great, and we can see the change on the whole omni-channel view, the whole online view, and starting to understand, this customer shopped online, but is shopping offline as well. So how can we start talking to this customer, but not the same way as Joe, for instance, who is a customer who shopped offline only?
Yeah.
But it's a long journey, as I said.
Yes, of course. And it takes people to adopt the tools and act on the insights that your tool offers.
To adapt, to take the time and to switch as well the mindset and the mentality around data, because now it's available.
Got it.
So they have to use it, but they have to take the time to use it and take actions.
So thanks, Martin. So customer at heart, right? We're really serious about that and we're acting on that. But I'm very conscious that it's not just about the customer, and there's a whole ecosystem of activity around customers. And Carli, you've been working the supply chain part of that ecosystem. So for me, getting supply chain right is all about being able to deliver on our promises to our customers, because the things they want to buy will be available to them when they want to buy them and where they want to buy them. What was it like in real life putting together a data model to support all of that? That must have been fascinating and challenging.
Yes, I would definitely say challenging, but I think one of the key areas that we really looked into was the last mile fulfillment and delivery. So once the pandemic hit, of course, a lot of people are shopping online, our stores are closed, but there was no real data source for the business to take action on what we promise the customer versus what we deliver in terms of days. So if I'm shopping on Faces, if it says 2 days, if I'm a customer, I expect my order in 2 days. But there's actually a lot that goes into these models behind. You have your fulfillment, which is how long does it take to pick, pack, actually get your order ready for shipment. And then all the way down to the last mile, where it's how long did it take for us to assign a specific courier? How long did it take for that courier to contact the customer? All the way down to the delivery part. And there's a lot of different, things that can affect an order. It could be perhaps we tried to deliver one day, but the customer wasn't home. It could be that the carrier had the wrong information, had the wrong address, and wasn't able to deliver it. So it's how do we quantify the issues that are happening in our last mile and our fulfillment, so that way we can take actions to correct those, whether on the website, whether it's identifying key customers from our 360 and seeing how well we've served them. And I think the most important thing is understanding how did we serve our customers based off of the promise we gave.
So there's a linkage there to very real customer experience, and there's a feedback loop, therefore, across both your streams.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
It's interesting that you talk about breaking down the whole of that supply chain into, if you like, it's not just about process, it's about all its logical steps, and then align data with those. So what were you looking to measure? What kind of metrics did you derive, and how did you get to those?
So I think the golden metric of this is called click to deliver. So that is how long from the customer click all the way down to the delivery. But then beyond that, we split it into 3 major parts because there's a lot of analysis that a business wants to do. For example, on a courier, If you want to analyze how well your couriers are performing, you can't judge that based off of the customer click, because perhaps there was a delay in the fulfillment process. Perhaps there was a delay on getting the correct address. That is not on the courier to monitor. So there was also key metrics such as from the creation in the courier system to the delivery to make sure that we can analyze them against the same metrics. And also, to Martin's point, is speaking the same language even within the business. A lot of people had a different idea about what click to deliver meant. What is the picking stage? What is the packing stage? So we really needed to align because there's so many businesses, and especially on e-com, that were separated, but they all joined together in the logistics. They all used the same logistics processes, but they spoke completely different languages about it.
I bet you had a few interesting gunfights over agreeing on definitions of these particular stages in the journey.
Yes, and I think as product, one of our key, I guess, USPs is that we're really good at the business analysis and coming up with the frameworks and helping the business align together. And that's kind of why we have data product managers, is to align the business to a key framework that will then deliver the most effective push to the business.
I love this. So your gift to the business was visibility of how they did business in this area.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And we might come back to that in a minute. But Joe, turning to you, we've heard some very concrete stories here about the customer stream and supply chain and how products were being built and harnessed progressively at different paces and with different levels of urgency. For me, though, there's something there about the data mindset, because if you're not like us, a data professional, data can be scary. It's all a bit mysterious. I don't really understand it. I've never had to engage with it before. What did you have to do to get into people's minds to say, look, there's another way of looking at problems. There's another way of thinking. How did you help encourage a data mindset?
Yeah, good question. Everything we've done, and you heard from Martin and Carli, is basically we've taken the business into a totally new territory, a totally new visibility on things they never had before. So, of course, with that comes a bit of doubt, resistance, the change. So another area that we focused on as product is not only upstream getting the requirements and alignment, but also downstream is about landing those products, right? Making sure that those products deliver the impact. The only way to do that is to adopt a very people-centric strategy, focus on change management. One of the approaches or steps we've taken is, first off, assigned a onboarding associate. By that, we mean someone that will take the hand of the business, those that need it, of course, the more, let's say, the ones that are the most doubtful about the approach and the skeptics, to the most mature in different ways. So taking their hand and making sure they have the right access, they have the right training, the basic trainings. We're even thinking of adopting a kind of a data passport to unlock stages in that data journey.
I love that. That's the kind of the phase that I call the clickology of things, when people are clicking for the first time and exploring for the first time and learning how to use a tool.
Exactly. And that's the most important moment, because this is where you can have the wow moment. So in every product manager's life, the wow moment is what we live for. And this is where it actually makes it a break.
Give us some examples. What has been your favorite wow moment?
I think we were demoing, I think, on both sides, on customer and on supply chain. I think it was, but this example is on supply chain. We're demoing the new metrics that for, I think it was sell-through, I believe, and as well the last mile to one of the supply chain managers in the group. And I think during a 30 minutes demo, we got 3 wow effects with, the emoji with the mouth open, 3 times in 30 minutes. I think that was our record.
That's pretty cool.
So, and it's also kind of those moments that really get you up in the morning and out of bed. And,
It's a real thrill to make that difference, isn't
Absolutely.
it? My version of that is, as a data leader, I often say, helping people understand data for the first time is like inviting them to imagine a new color. Now, if we're not colorblind, we can see 7 colors, and I won't test you by naming them. Now imagine the 8th. Well, that's data, and let me show you. And you get that, I get it now. That's the first time they've seen that color. And those are your wow moments.
Absolutely. And we're passionate about our products, and we're happy to see that what we've built actually has value and actually means something to the business. It's not always it's not always easy, especially I think that the key thing is to get the business asking the questions. So we tell them, what question do you ask and do you need the data to answer? This is one of the biggest challenges as well in adoption. It's getting the mindset and asking question and asking the right questions to get the answers.
How did you prioritize? There must have been a huge list and everyone's screaming, this is vital, do it now. But clearly you can't do everything at once. How did you work with the business to prioritize what was done and in what order?
During the crisis, things got a bit shuffled, and we didn't, let's say, we're always, best practice in terms of the prioritization. We were just running for our lives. But eventually, we always kept in the corner of our minds one very simple approach. The value that we believe this opportunity would unlock versus the feasibility. We can dream, absolutely. We believe there are short-term wins and there are more long-term wins. We want to unlock as much as possible, as much value as possible. But at the end of the day, we were less than a year-old team, and we had a lot of foundations to put in place. So not everything was always feasible, and we prioritized. And one of the key things to deliver that value from the shortest moment to the longest term was the iterative approach. So the team talked about Agile. We shipped on a weekly basis new features, and we were really fast at that shipping. We released small increments, small iterations, and we saw the value on a weekly basis, and we're also able to, redirect our trajectory if we were.
But doing that with the business, not to the business.
Absolutely. As Carli mentioned, we were gathering the requirements upstream with the business in workshops, making sure that what we deliver is for the business. They were very involved as well in the development, in the testing of the products, and all the way down when we land and we onboard them as well. Very, very, very present throughout the whole cycle.
And I think I can add to that from at least supply chain side, but I think we all did this, is in this testing, I think probably about 80% of my development time was on testing with the business. If the business doesn't trust the data, they're not going to use it. So it was really key to make sure that they were with us on that journey, because they're also the owners of their own data and they are responsible for keeping that data quality, for making sure that the logics are correct on it, and coming on that journey so they feel like they also own the development with us.
I love that message, Carli. It's a really important one. Hey, look, I'm going to wrap it up here. Guys, on behalf of the whole group, I'm going to congratulate you for what you achieved over the last year and for the more to come, which we haven't had a chance to explore in this particular episode of this podcast. But if I can make one observation, your work has started to build the trust and confidence for the business to handle data, to find out insights, and then to act on those insights to generate value and to thrill and delight our customers. That's a pretty cool place to have been. And I know that would have been done in some very trying circumstances. So you've painted a rosy picture, but I know that there'll have been some tough days there. Congratulations to you all, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
So that wraps up this particular episode of this Chalhoub Group podcast. Please do keep an eye open for the next episodes coming your way soon. Thank you. Hey, Joe, I think that went quite well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not bad.
So what are we going to talk about next time?
Well, 2020, as we discussed, was all about laying down the foundations. But, there's a lot more to data than just reporting and insights.
Oh, there's so much more to offer. I think that's worth another podcast or two, don't you? I hope you'll be able to join us when we discuss more detail about what's coming next in the data world at Chalhoub Group.